वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नारायणं नमस्कृतं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you. Thank you, Rehanshi.
Thank you. Wonderful.
This is Manoram Jagannath Prabhu. He is also a scientist.
Achha.
He is posted in Cuttack.
Achha.
I got connected to him through IARI. He's passed out from IARI, become scientist. He's in Cuttack. And this is Pranav. Pranav is in Agartala.
Achha.
He comes for Guru Maharaj Vyas Puja every year from Agartala.
Oh, achha.
Yeah, to attend.
Wow.
Okay. Now today's class will be conducted by His Grace.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, प्रभु जी कर रहे हैं.
नहीं,
हाँ, just speak for a few minutes about श्रीमद् भागवतम. आप लोग जो श्रीमद् भागवतम पढ़ रहे हो, ये बहुत ही अद्भुत कार्य है. श्रीमद् भागवतम में बहुत रेयरली किसी जीवन में आता है. अगर कोई एक बार कृष्ण कथा सुनता है तो उसको बोला जाता है कि ये व्यक्ति सौभाग्यशाली है. लेकिन अगर कोई व्यक्ति से ओकेजनली सुन लेता है तो और अधिक सौभाग्यशाली है. पर अगर नियमित रूप से जैसे आप लोग कर रहे हो, अगर श्रीमद् भागवतम सुनता है तो उसको मोस्ट फॉर्चुनेट बताया गया. तो आप सब है मोस्ट फॉर्चुनेट, आप सब बहुत बहुत सौभाग्यशाली हैं. और साथ ही शास्त्र में आता है कि ना, जो वेद पढ़ाते हैं पिता के समान, उपनिषद पढ़ाते हैं टीचर के समान, पुराण पढ़ाते हैं दोस्त के समान, और इतिहास पढ़ाते हैं यानी महाभारत रामायण जैसे एक प्रेमिका के समान, लेकिन श्रीमद् भागवतम समझाता है इन सब के समान. यानी कि अगर आपके जीवन में श्रीमद् भागवतम है तो आपको ना तो प्रियतमा चाहिए, ना आपको मित्र चाहिए, ना माता पिता चाहिए, ना आपको टीचर चाहिए. यानी आप ना उपनिषद, ना वेद, ना इतिहास, ना पुराण, क्योंकि श्रीमद् भागवत आपको इन सब की तरह पढ़ाता है. ऐसा है श्रीमद् भागवतम. बल्कि ऐसा ब्रह्मा जी ने ऐसा किया, जितने वेद पुराण शास्त्र जितने भी थे उनको रखा तराजू में एक तरफ और दूसरी तरफ रखा श्रीमद् भागवतम को. तो श्रीमद् भागवतम जो है उसका पलड़ा भारी रहा. तो सारे दिव्य ज्ञान में सर्वश्रेष्ठ है श्रीमद् भागवतम. बल्कि जो गायत्री का जो एक्सप्लेनेशन है वो है श्रीमद् भागवतम. महाभारत का जो निष्कर्ष है वो है श्रीमद् भागवतम. जितने वेद इत्यादि हैं उनके लिए पुराण जो है उनको पूर्ण बनाते, तो इसलिए वो कहलाते हैं पुराण. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं पुराण का मतलब जो पुराना हो गया उसको बोलते हैं पुरानी. ऐसा नहीं होता. ऐसा मतलब जो कुरान का मतलब जो पुराना हो गया है, ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. तो इसलिए पुराण मतलब जो पूरा नव, जो बार बार नया है और जो पूर्ण बनाता है वेदों के ज्ञान को. लेकिन पुराणों के लिए भला पुराण क्या है? पुराणों के लिए पुराण बताया गया है श्रीमद् भागवतम. बल्कि पुराणों के लिए जो पुराण है वो है स्मृति शास्त्र, और उसका फिर पुराण है वो है श्रीमद् भागवतम. तो श्रीमद् भागवतम का जो वृक्ष है इसमें 335 ब्रांचेस हैं, बोले 335 में अध्याय हैं, और इसमें 18,000 पत्तियां हैं इस वृक्ष में. बोले तो 18,000 ये श्लोक है वास्तव में श्रीमद् भागवतम में. और ये 18,000 श्लोक वाला जो श्रीमद् भागवतम है ये हमको दिया गया है वेद व्यास जी के द्वारा. ऐसी सुखदेव गोस्वामी और परीक्षित महाराज जो कॉन्वर्सेशन हुई वो तो लाखों श्लोक की है. क्योंकि देखा जाए भगवद गीता के जो 700 श्लोक हैं वो 45 मिनट में हो गए थे. यानी कि 1,000 श्लोक हो जाएंगे 1 घंटे में, तो 18,000 श्लोक हो जाएंगे 18 घंटे में. तो 7 दिन 7 रात भला क्या चला भाई. यानी कि वो श्रीमद् भागवतम बहुत एक्सटेंसिव है जो कि परीक्षित महाराज को सुनाया श्री सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी ने. तो उसी का ही बहुत समरी फॉर्म में 18,000 श्लोकों वाला श्रीमद् भागवतम हमको यहाँ पर दिया श्री वेद व्यास जी ने. लेकिन जो सुखदेव गोस्वामी उन्होंने भी समरी वर्जन सुनाया उनको. अदरवाइज सुखदेव गोस्वामी श्रीमती राधा रानी के तोते हैं। श्रीमती राधा रानी जो है अपने हाथों से एक एक अनार खिलाती हैं, अनार का दाना, और एक एक श्लोक सुनाती हैं सुखदेव जी को। तो सुखदेव गोस्वामी जो है शुक हैं श्रीमती राधा रानी के। और इस प्रकार से 100 करोड़ श्लोकों वाला श्रीमद् भागवतम सिखाती हैं श्रीमती राधा रानी श्री सुखदेव गोस्वामी जी को। और वो सुखदेव गोस्वामी फिर कुछ लाख श्लोकों वाला देते हैं श्रीमद् भागवतम परीक्षित महाराज को। और फिर उसमें से फिर हमको 18,000 श्लोक वाला जो है बहुत ही कंडेंस्ड वाला नेक्टर वाला दिया गया है, ये श्रीमद् भागवतम बाय श्री वेद व्यास जी। तो इसलिए वे जो श्रीमद् भागवत में है, ये श्री मतलब श्रीमती राधा रानी के मद, उनका जो प्रेम है उससे भरा हुआ है। तो वो है भागवतम वास्तव में। तो इससे अगर हम भी चाहते हैं श्रीमती राधा रानी के भाव को अगर हृदय में अंगीकार करना चाहते हैं, तो श्रीमद् भागवतम जैसा कुछ भी नहीं है। और जितनी कॉमेंट्रीज भागवतम पे लिखी गई हैं, इतनी कॉमेंट्रीज कभी किसी पे नहीं लिखी गई, नेवर एवर। मतलब दशम स्कंद तो 31 कॉमेंट्रीज हैं और टोटल भागवतम में 19 कॉमेंट्रीज हैं। बल्कि हमारे एक आचार्य श्री जीव गोस्वामी ने तो 4 4 कॉमेंट्री लिखी हुई है भागवतम के ऊपर। एक था क्रम संदर्भ, यानी क्रम वाइज सारे श्लोकों पे कमेंट्री। फिर है षट संदर्भ, थीमेटिक कमेंट्री, थीम वाइज कंपाइल किया उन्होंने कमेंट्री। फिर दशम स्कंद पे लिखी उन्होंने लघु सिद्धांत कौमुदी। और साथ ही उन्होंने लिखी बृहद क्रम संदर्भ की, और भी कुछ बच गया था वो भी दे रहा हूँ। फिर बृहद क्रम संदर्भ एक ही आचार्य ने 4 4 कमेंट्री लिखी भागवतम। सोचिए कितना अमृत होगा श्रीमद् भागवतम के अंदर, माय गॉड। तो इसलिए श्रीमद् भागवतम पे को पढ़ना, इसे मनन करना, दिस इज द वे टू परफेक्शन। अगर हम चाहते हैं कृष्ण हमारे हृदय में आ जाए, तो इसलिए भागवतम हमें नियमित रूप से पढ़ना चाहिए। तो इसे सदा सेव्या श्रीमद् भागवती कथा यस्य श्रवण मात्रेण हरि चित्तम समाश्रयेत। हरि को चित्त में समाश्रयित करने की शक्ति रखता है श्रीमद् भागवतम। लेकिन क्या करना है? सदा सेव्या श्रीमद् भागवती कथा। तो सदा सदा करना है। कितना सदा करना है? कितना पढ़ना है हमको श्रीमद् भागवतम? इतना पढ़ना ही पढ़ते पढ़ते आप बेहोश हो जाए। लेकिन फिर आपको जब होश आए फिर क्या करना है? फिर से भागवतम पढ़ना है। फिर कब तक पढ़ना है? लेकिन जब तक आप फिर से बेहोश नहीं हो जाते। फिर जब वापस होश में आएंगे फिर क्या करेंगे? भागवतम पढ़ेंगे। इस प्रकार से हमको भागवतम का जब टेस्ट आ जाएगा, देन वील गेट कृष्ण प्रेम एक्चुअली। तो इसलिए श्रीमद् भागवतम इज, ये नित्य हमारा संगी है जैसा, और ये हमारा गार्जियन भी है, हमारा फ्रेंड भी है, हमारा सब कुछ है श्रीमद् भागवतम। तो प्लीज डू रीड दिस परमहंस संहिता श्रीमद् भागवतम। इसको परम संहिता बोलते हैं, रीजन भी अगर कोई कौवा हो तो उसको परमहंस बनाने की शक्ति रखता है भागवतम। और अगर वो परमहंस बन चुका हो तो उसको रेलिशमेंट देता है श्रीमद् भागवतम। तो इसीलिए श्रीमद् भागवतम बोला था परमहंस संहिता। दैट मीन्स इट कैन मेक अ क्रो इनटू हंस, और अ परमहंस। ऐसा ही श्रीमद् भागवतम। बल्कि अगर कोई हंस बन चुका हो, हंस को परमहंस बनाने की शक्ति रखता है भागवतम। अच्छा, ऐसा कोई केस स्टडी है क्या हमारे पास कि कोई हंस से परमहंस बन गया हो? हाँ जी। सुखदेव गोस्वामी जब लीला करने के लिए आए जगत के अंदर, तो पहले ज्ञानी परमहंस थे। लेकिन जैसे ही भागवतम के श्लोक सुने, ओहो, बरहा पीड़म नटवर बपू कर्णयो कर्णिकारम बिभ्रदवासः कनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च मालाम। ये श्लोक सुना, अरे भाई हंस से हो गए परमहंस। अच्छा, और कोई एग्जाम्पल है? हाँ जी, चतुष कुमार। यस। तो ऐसे कई ज्ञानी परमहंस हुए जो बन गए प्रेमी परमहंस भागवतम की वजह से। तो भागवतम कैन इवन अपग्रेड हंस टिप्स परमहंस। कौओं को परमहंस सुनाता है, हंस को भी और परमहंस सुनाता है श्रीमद् भागवतम। सो हैप्पी रीडिंग टाइम इन एसोसिएशन ऑफ पांडव प्रेम प्रभु जी। सो बुक
Special,
भागवत को समझेंगे आप पसंद भागवत से।
भैया, special blessings today. We had a blessing session by His Grace Amagdullah Prabhu. Very fortunate.
We are fortunate to have you.
Very fortunate. Most fortunate. He is the one who is having this relishment, and he is sharing, he is inspiring all of us, encouraging all of us. So if you can do this service, this lifetime we should commit. Uh, if we don't eat one time, nothing will, nothing will be lost. If we sleep less, nothing will be lost. But if we don't study, then I mean, all this opportunity will go
यस।
waste.
और ये बहुत रेयर है ऐसे लीडर्स जो कि भक्तों को एनकरेज करते हैं रीडिंग के लिए, क्योंकि खुद भी पढ़ते हैं। जो लीडर पढ़ते नहीं है उनको भी एनकरेज नहीं करेंगे। जो लीडर खुद पढ़ते हैं वो एनकरेज करते हैं, अरे भाई हम पा रहे हैं रसमलाई 56 भोग, तुम भी पाओ, आ जाओ। तो ऐसे हमारे पांडव प्रेम प्रभु
असली
जी।
असली रस तो ये पूरा गोवर्धन में रह के बटोर रहे हैं,
नहीं नहीं
प्रभु जी
नहीं,
गोवर्धन वास कर रहे
अभी तो कंगाल है।
हैं. थैंक यू
ठीक
वेरी
है,
मच.
तो प्लीज कंटिन्यू।
थैंक यू.
जय हो
थैंक यू.
श्रीमद्
जय हो.
भागवतम की
जय हो. जय हो.
जय।
थैंक यू प्रभु की जय. थैंक यू. ओके, so we will continue. Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. So we discussed that how various limbs, the various faculties are manifesting, and what is the presiding deities. I will not cover it again. We'll move ahead. The last verse that we discussed was the 30th verse. When there was a desire to have food and drink, the abdomen and the intestines and also the arteries became manifested. The river and seas are the source of their sustenance and metabolism. So the controlling deities of the intestines are the rivers, and those of the arteries are the seas. Filling the belly with food and drink is the cause of sustenance, and metabolizing the food and drink replenishes the bodily energies. Therefore, the body's health is dependent on healthy actions of the intestines and the arteries. So, two things very important to remain healthy. Srimad Bhagavatam says, is the intestines. So, the intestines should be clean. Hmm? This is very important. And the arteries also should be clean. They should not remain blocked. If the intestines are blocked, then we have constipation. And if the arteries are blocked, then we have heart attacks. The rivers and the seas, being the controlling deities of the two, keeps the intestines and the arteries in healthy order. When there was a desire to think about the activities of his own energy, then the heart, the seat of the mind, this we discussed yesterday, the seat of the mind, the moon, determination, and all desires became manifested. The heart of every living entity is the seat of the super soul, and heart is also the seat of the mind. The mind is seated in the region of the heart. Paramatma, a planetary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without his presence, the living entity cannot get into the working energy according to his past deeds. It is all coming from the super soul. The energy which is being infused, it is because of the super soul. The living entities who are conditioned in the material world are manifested in the creation in terms of respective inclinations inherent in them. So these are called samskar or vasanas, according to what they have done in their past lives. And the requisite material body is offered to each and every one of them by the material energy under the direction of the super soul. This is explained in 9.10. We discussed this yesterday. When therefore the super soul is situated in the heart of the conditioned soul, the requisite mind is manifested in the conditioned soul, and he becomes conscious of his occupation as one is conscious of his duty after waking up from slumber. Therefore, the material mind of the living entity develops when the super soul sits in his heart. After which the mind, the controlling deity is moon. So the moon is the controlling deity of the mind. This is very important. Huh? And then the activities of the mind, namely thinking, feeling, and willing, all takes place. The activities of mind cannot begin without the manifestation of the heart, and the heart becomes manifested when the Lord wants to see the activities of the material creation. So it is the super soul who is seated in the region of the heart, and from him all the inclination and directions are given. Okay, we'll go now in the next section. This is how various different elements, how different now. So far we were seeing how the various uh, knowledge acquiring and working senses were manifested. Now in the creation, how various other elements are manifested. Twak charma mam sarudhira medo manjasti dhatava bhumi apo tejo maya sapta prano vyamba vayubhi. The seven elements of the body, namely the thin layer of the skin itself, the flesh, blood, fat, marrow, and bone, are all made of earth, water, and fire. whereas the life breath is produced by the sky, water, and air. This is a little technical. So there are seven layers. And what are these layers? First is twak, is the outermost layer on the skin. Then the skin itself, it is called charma. Then, which is even more uh, bulky, it is the flesh, mamsa. Then inside is rudhira, blood, medha, fat, majja, marrow. Where is marrow? Anyone knows where is marrow? What is marrow? Majja. What is marrow? The blood which is there in the bones. It is also called bone marrow. You heard? And then asti is the bone. So these are the seven elements. So our body is made up of these seven elements. Are all made of earth. And how are these seven elements made? Of earth, water, and fire. Whereas the life breath is produced in the sky, water, and air. The construction of the whole material world is prominently made by three elements, namely earth, water, and fire. But the life force is produced by sky, air, and water. So, water is the common element in both the gross and subtle forms of all material creations. And it should be noted herewith that due to necessity, water being most prominent in the material creation is the principal element of all the five. So, we all know this five gross element. So, here Srimad Bhagavatam says that amongst all the five elements, the principal element is water. Because water is contained in both the gross. The gross is made of three. What are these three? Earth, water, and fire. And what is the life force, which is the subtle? Subtle constitutes of sky, air, and water. So water is the common in both. So water is the most prominent or principal element of all the five. This material body is thus an embodiment of the five elements, and the gross manifestation is perceived because of three, namely earth, water, and fire. Sensation of touch are perceived due to the thin layer of the skin, and bone is as good as hard stone. The breathing air of life is produced of sky, air, and water, and therefore open air, regular bath, and ample space in which to live are favorable for healthy vitality. You see, very important. If you want to remain healthy, the trip, everything is this is Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. The breathing air of life is produced of sky, air, and water, and therefore open air. So we should live in a place where there is sufficient ventilation. You should not take pigeonholes. You know pigeonholes? Now people live in boxed houses. All the time there is only AC. So they will always be in a diseased condition. Where to live? Where there is open air. There should be sufficient ventilation of air. Regular bath. How many times? At least two times bath. And ample space in which to live. Should not live in a cramped house. Huh? I never suggest to live in a small house. You should live in a spacious house where the sunlight and the air, the sufficient ventilation is there. These are favorable for healthy vitality. Fresh produce from the earth like grains and vegetables, as well as fresh water and heat, is good for the upkeep of the gross body. गुणात्मकानि इंद्रियाणि भूतादि प्रभवा गुना मना सर्वा विक्रात्मा बुद्धिर्विज्ञान रूपिणी. The sense organs are attached to the modes of material nature, and the modes of material nature are products of the false ego. Hmm. The mind is subjected to all kinds of material experiences, happiness and distress, and the intelligence is the feature of mind's deliberation. So the last verse talked about the seven gross elements. Now this verse is talking about the three subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and ego. Illusion by the material nature, the living entity identifies with false ego. You all know how the jiva enters into this material world. When the living entity, the jiva, enters into this material world, the material nature provides one free gift. What is the free gift that the material nature provides? It is the, yes, Ramya? What is the free gift?
False ego, Prabhuji.
Yes, false ego. What is false ego? Who will explain what is false ego? Why it is called false? No, you have answered. Let someone else answer. Yes, Madan Surupro?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
False ego is an assumption by an individual that what he is not. He assumes that he has those qualities or personality, which in reality is not there.
So,
False assumption.
what is it?
That is a
Yes,
false ego.
Dayāśīl?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Because of the false ego, the living entity thinks that he is the product of this material world, the product of the material nature.
Very good. This is the answer.
Yes,
The
Prabhuji.
false ego gives this wrong identity that he belongs to this material nature, whereas he is of the superior nature. Madhantara Prabhu, you missed the nectar. We were having Amog Lila Prabhu live. You missed it. He was there with us. You
Okay.
you joined late. So, this is the false ego. So, the first element which comes out from the Mahatattva is the false ego. And when this false ego interacts with the three modes, when the false ego interacts with the mode of goodness, then what manifests is the mind. And when the false ego interacts with the mode of passion, what comes out is intelligence. Of course, all material intelligence. And the false ego, when it interacts with the mode of ignorance, then this senses. So, illusion by the material nature, the living entity identifies with false ego. More clearly, when the living entity is entrapped by the material body, he at once identifies with the bodily relationships, forgetting his own identity as spirit soul. So, the more we have absorption in bodily relationships, the deeper is the layer of illusion, and it is difficult to revive one's eternal relationship. This false ego associates with different modes of material nature, and thus the senses becomes attached to the modes of material nature. Mind is the instrument for feeling different material experiences, but intelligence is deliberative and can change everything for the better. The intelligent person therefore can attain salvation from the illusion of material existence by proper use of intelligence. What is the verse? The intelligent person therefore can attain salvation from the illusion of material existence by proper use of intelligence. Krishna speaks about this in Bhagavad Gita. Which verse? Hmm? This is in the third chapter. बोलिए. Krishna talks about this. I have given you the chapter name also. अब क्या है? No one remembers the third chapter. सारा all lost out. एवं बुद्धे परम बुद्ध्वा संस्तभ्यम आत्मनम आत्मना जाहि शत्रु महाबाहो कामरूपम दुरासदम. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence. O mighty armed Arjuna, one should study the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. What is deliberate spiritual intelligence? Buddhi Yogam. Dadami Buddhi Yogam tam. Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer the insatiable enemy known as lust. The more the false ego, the more will be the influence of lust. Very clear. Directly proportionate. The freer one is getting from the influence of the false ego, lust will not trouble. The intelligent person should therefore can attain salvation from the illusion of material existence by proper use of intelligence. An intelligent person can detect the awkward position of material existence and thus begin to inquire as to what he is and why he is different, subjected to different kind of miseries, and how to get rid of all these miseries. Who asked this question? Hmm? Not anyone and everyone will ask. An intelligent person can detect the awkward position of material existence and thus begin to inquire as to what he is, why he is subjected to different kind of miseries, and how to get rid of all miseries. Baki to they are thinking, where is the misery? There is maja. Hmm? Saja is also being considered maja. Who will ask this question? Where is the instance of this question being asked? Manoram bro, who asked these questions? Are you asking? No, these questions are not coming in the heart. Priyanka?
Parikshit Maharaj will.
Rishit Maharaj? No. Precisely who is asking these questions? Rishit Maharaj, then you have to give reference. Which verse? Where? Yes, Ramya? Bolo?
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी श्रीला सनातन गोस्वामी
Yes. What did he ask?
कि আমার কাজ
কে
কে
আমি কেন আমার কে আমি
তারপর
কেন চাপা তাপত রয় ইহা নেই জানি কেমন হিত হয়. So this question will be asked by one who is awakened. One who is in dream or one who is in illusion will never ask. He will still always try to find some patch solution. He's thinking with a little bit of more luck or with a little bit of more effort, I can still enjoy this material world. So when it is possible, thus by good association, an advanced intelligent person can turn towards the better life of self-realization. So how this change can happen? With the association, good association. It is advised therefore that an intelligent person associate with great sages and saints who are on the path of salvation. What is the verse? Kapil Dev tells to Mother Devahuti this principle. It is advised, therefore, see, all these purports are coming from Srimad Bhagavatam verses only. It is advised, therefore, that an intelligent person associate with great sages and saints who are on the path of salvation. Which verse is this from Srimad Bhagavatam? By such association, one can receive instructions which are able to slacken the conditioned soul's attachment for matter, and thus the intelligent man gradually gets rid of the illusion of matter and false ego and is promoted to the real life of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Very famous verse from the third canto by Lord Kapila. बोलो कौन सा वर्स है? If you see Prabhupada's purport, it is all stuffed with Srimad Bhagavatam's verses. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmana kaviyo vido sayev sadhu sakrito mokshadvaram apavritam. So this pasham, this material victimization of birth and death is ajram, very, very difficult. Prasangam. What is the sangha? Sangha is of the three modes. And what the three modes does? Ajaram pasham. But if a person is kaviyo, saev sadhu sakrito, so one can terminate the victimization of repeated birth and death by associating with a saintly person. Moksha dvaram apavritam. Then one's door to salvation will open. So if we spend our time in association with saintly person, then for sure one is on the path of liberation. And if we associate with non-saintly and non-devotees, then our path of repeated birth and death continues. There is no respite. एतद् भगवतो रूपं स्थूलं ते व्यहर्तं मया मय्यादिभिश्च वर्णये अष्टभिर्बहिरावृतम्. Thus, by all this, the external feature of the personality of Godhead is covered by gross form, such as those of planets, which were explained to you by me. So, this is being explained. What is being explained is the Sarga, the principal creation. And Shukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj that I have already spoken to you about the various planets, as explained in Bhagavad Gita 7.4. What is 7.4? Famous verse 7.4, basic verse. Ravinder, हाँ बताओ. Unmute.
प्रभु जी भूमिरापो नलो वायु
Yes.
खाम
पूरा श्लोक बताइए. पहली लाइन चलाने से नहीं चलेगा. दूसरी लाइन भी बताइए. भूमिरापो नलो वायु. आगे.
खाम मन
हाँ खम मनो बुद्धि रेवचा. नेक्स्ट. You take help from your better half. बोलो प्रियंका.
अहंकार इत्ययं में भिन्न प्रकृति अष्टधा.
पूरा बोलो.
भूमिरापो नलो वायु खं मनो बुद्धिरेव च अहंकार इत्ययं में
भिन्ना प्रकृति.
भिन्न प्रकृति अष्टधा.
अभी हमने पढ़ लिया ना भिन्ना प्रकृति रष्टधा. 5 ग्रॉस एंड 3 सटल. ठीक है. तो दिस इज भिन्ना प्रकृति रष्टधा. The separated material energy of the personality of Godhead is covered by 8 kinds of material coverings: earth, water, fire, air, sky, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All these are emanations from the personality of Godhead as its external energies. Bhinna Prakritir, Ashtadha. These coverings are just like the coverings of clouds for the sun. They are compared to the covering of the cloud. The cloud is the creation of the sun, yet it actually covers the eyes so that one cannot see the sun. Actually, the cloud can never cover the sun. How can the cloud cover the sun? The cloud's existence is from the sun. And what is the size of the sun as compared to the cloud? The sun is millions of times bigger. So, what the cloud does, it does not cover the sun, but it covers the vision of our eyes to see the sun. The sun cannot be covered by the clouds. The cloud can at most extend a few hundreds of miles in the sky, but the sun is far greater than millions of miles. So, 100-mile covering is not competent to cover millions of miles. Therefore, one of the various energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot, of course, cover the Lord. So this is the external energy, bhinna prakriti. So how the energy can cover the energetic? Therefore, one of the various energies of Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot, of course, cover the Lord. But these coverings are created by Him to cover the eyes of the conditioned souls who want to lord it over the material nature. It cannot cover the Lord, but it covers the conditioned soul. Actually, the conditioned souls are covered by the illusionary creative cloud of matter, and the Lord deserves the right of not being exposed to their eyes. What is the verse? Bhagavad Gita. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to their eyes. Which verse? Yes, Dayāśīl Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, ना हम प्रकाश से सर्वस्य योगम माया समावृतम
Yes, Naham Prakasha
मोहयम
Sarvasya.
जानाति.
Yes, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritam. The Lord reserves the right of not being exposed to their eyes because they have no eyes of transcendental vision and because they cannot see the personality of Godhead. They therefore deny the existence of the Lord and the transcendental form of the Lord. The covering of this gigantic material feature is accepted by men, by such men with poor fund of knowledge. And how this is so is explained in the following verse. Antaparam sukshmatatmam avyaktam nirveshana anadi madhya nidhanam nityam van manasaparam. Therefore, beyond this gross manifestation is the transcendental manifestation, finer than the finest form. It has no beginning, no intermediate stage, and no end. Huh? Anadi. Anadi means there is no history, no date. And also it has Madhya, there is no intermediate stage. And there is no Nidhanam, there is no end. Therefore, it is beyond the limits of expression or mental speculation and is distinct from the material conception. This is the transcendental world. The gross external body of the Supreme is manifested at certain intervals, and thus the eternal feature or form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not the eternal form of the Lord. We have so many times discussed that the Vishwaroop, this external gigantic form, is not the spiritual form, it is not the eternal form. It is manifested only for the material creation, which has no beginning and no intermediate stage and no end. Anything which has beginning, entering, and end is called material. The material world is begun from the Lord, and thus the form of the Lord before the beginning of the material world is certainly transcendental to the finest or the finer material conception. The ether in the material world is considered to be the finest. Finer than the ether are mind, intelligence, and false ego. How many times subtle? How many times is each subtle than the other? This is the chronology. Amongst all the gross element, ether is the most subtle. What is the most gross? What is the sequence? Who can explain how it uh, progresses? Manoram, you are scientist? Batao?
The grossest will be Earth, Prabhuji.
Yes. Next.
Mm.
What is the next?
Should be, I think, water, Prabhuji.
Should be. You are not clear. It is water. Then So much time. The gross elements are not clear. मानिनी माता जी धन्यवाद बोलिए जल्दी बताइए फटाफट क्या सीक्वेंस है हाँ नहीं पता ये तो क्या भागवतम पढ़ेंगे प्रदीप
हरे कृष्ण यार
हरे
वाटर एयर एयर फायर ये तरह
फायर विल कम फर्स्ट और एयर विल कम फर्स्ट विच इज ग्रॉस फायर और एयर
एयर प्रभु
अभी हमने पढ़ा था ना वो ग्रॉस में तीन एलिमेंट्स कौन से आए थे व्हाट डिड यू सी
वाट
अरे अर्थ एंड वाटर इज क्लियर
वाटर फायर
हाँ आफ्टर फायर विल कम फर्स्ट फायर विल कम व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन एयर एंड फायर व्हाट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन एयर एंड फायर why fire is gross and air is more subtle प्रणब
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण
Fire contains some particles also.
particle this is
Hmm?
something new I'm hearing what is the difference between air and fire why fire is gross and air is subtle Manoram Prabhu
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Fire has actually both shape and as well as some touch, Prabhuji. But air, it is having only touch. It is having no shape
Yes,
or
form.
form.
Form,
Yeah.
yes. Fire has form. You see, this is how it becomes prominent. Fire has form. And when we see water, water has form, it also has taste. And when it comes to earth, it has smell also, fragrance. Okay, then you give this sequence quickly. Manoram Prabhu, your time is 9 past 9. What is the sequence?
It will
From
be
gross to
earth,
subtle. Yes.
earth, water, fire, air, and then sky or ether.
Okay. And then further next.
Then
Then
mind, intelligence, and ego, Prabhuji.
and Srimad Bhagavatam says how much is the difference between each element?
10 times subtler.
Yes, 10 times. 10 times. So from earth to false ego, huh? 10 to the power. So Prabhupada is saying the ether is the material world is considered to be the finest. Finer than the ether are mind, intelligence, and false ego. But all eight of the outward covering are explained as outer covering of the absolute truth. The absolute truth is therefore beyond the expression and speculation of the material conception. So the absolute truth is transcendental. There is another word which says about being transcendental. It's called Turiya. The absolute truth is Turiya. There are four stages. First is Susupti, then next is Swapna, then there is Jagriti. Again, all these three are within the three modes. Susupti is which mode? Mode of ignorance. Swapna is mode of passion. And Jagriti is said to be in the mode of goodness. But all of the three are still, they are within the material conception. And the Supreme Lord is transcendental to the finest or the finer material conceptions. So he is beyond the expression and speculation of the material conception. He is certainly transcendental to all material conception. This is called Nirvisheshanam. Nirvisheshanam. You see word meaning nirvisheshanam? Without material feature. Why? Because it is having full spiritual feature or transcendental feature. Nirvisheshanam. So atha param susukshmatvam. Param is the supreme. Is sukshmat amam, the highest degree. What is suksha? Mana. Mana is suksha than the sthula, and sukshma is buddhi, and sukshmatva is false ego, or even more sukshma is the soul, the living entity. But sukshmatamam, sukshmatamam, sukshmatamam means the most subtle. What most subtle is? That is the Param. This is Supreme Lord. And is avyaktam. He cannot be seen. Why? Because he is nirvisheshana. Because he has no material feature. So by any material approach, by any material means, the Supreme can never be reached. And that Supreme is Anadi, Madhya, Nidhinam, Nityam Van Manasa Param. Therefore, he is beyond the limits and expression of mental speculation and is distinct from the material conception. One should not, however, misunderstood Nirvisheshana as being without any transcendental qualities. That is actually called Nirguna. So the Lord is not Nirguna. Or Nirvishesh means that he has no Visheshta. No. Nirvishesham means qualities. Therefore, Nir added to it means that he has no material qualities or variegatedness. This nullifying expression is described in four transcendental qualifications, namely unmanifested, transcendental, eternal, and beyond the conceptions of mind or words. Beyond the limits of words means negation of the material conception. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to know the transcendental form of the Lord. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. We have done till 34 verses. This chapter has 51 verses. So, Purushottam Prabhu, you have taken months and months and months. Where are you? You are still not there. No, he's out. Okay, I'll stop here. If there is any question or any discussion, you may ask. This all that we are discussing is the first feature. That is the Sargaha, the primary creation. Brahma's creation has not begun. Brahma will utilize all these elements, this 24 tattva, when they will be manifest, then Brahmaji will utilize it for sub-creation. Yes, Madan Swarup Prabhu?
Suji, I have a doubt on text 22, verse 22
Okay.
in translation.
Read. Please read.
By the development of desire of the great sages to know the ear's power of hearing, controlling entity of hearing, etc. So my doubt is only at the desire of great sages to know. So
Actually,
at
it is,
this,
yeah. 1 minute, I'll open the verse. See, if you see how the creation is beginning, what Srimad Bhagavatam is saying. You see, before this, when the Supreme Purusha desired to smell odor, the nostril and respirations were generated. The first initiative is from the Supreme. When
yes,
everything
Suji.
is in darkness, the Lord desired to see himself and all that was created. The eyes, the illuminating God's Son, the power of vision. And here it is said, Bodhamanasya Rishibhi Atmanam तज्जिगीर्षतः कर्णौ च निर्भेदयतम दिशा श्रोत्रम गुणाग्रह. By development of desire of the great sages, of course, the first desire is from the Supreme Lord, and that desire is being manifested through the great sages to know. Hmm. It
But
is the
sages
word.
haven't come into the existence here, no? Still, we
Yeah,
are at
but
the level of senses.
the word used here is Jigir Shata. So he says that when he desired to take up. So who desired to take up?
Supreme Lord.
Yeah, because the word used is Atmanam. But here Srila Shukdev Goswami is saying, Bodhya Manasya Rishibhir. So it is mentioned, I don't know why Bodhyamanam Rishibhi. It is actually, the verse is also speaking about Atmanas Tat Jigrishita. Atmana is the supreme being. Tat Jigrishita is when he desired to take up. I don't know. I really cannot comment on this. Because the verse is speaking here, as it is in the previous verses, then when the Supreme desired, then there was an Jigirshita means Jigyasu is inquiry. Then the Karnao Nirbhedayatam became manifest. The power of hearing.
And again in 25, no,
Ah,
that
wait.
Vishnu
Then
was
again,
generated.
Prabhupada is saying the great sages desire to hear about this. And let us see the purport. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, by advancement of knowledge, one should try to know the Supreme Lord. What is the verse? Advancement of knowledge, one should try to know the Supreme Lord. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanvan Ma Prapadna.
Jnanvan Prapadna.
Advancement of knowledge is Jnanvan. The summum bonum of everything. Knowledge does not mean knowledge only of the laws of nature or physical knowledge, which are working by the direction of the Lord. The scientists are eager to hear about the physical laws working in material nature. They are eager to hear through the medium of radio and television about things taking place far away from them on other planets. But they should know that the power of hearing, see, this is the point. The power of hearing and the instrument for hearing were given to them by the Lord for hearing about the self. So this is the point. But this inquiry is made by whom? Who are interested to hear the subject matter of the Supreme Lord? These persons are great sages. But they should know that the power of hearing and the instrument for hearing were given to them by the Lord for hearing about the self or about the Lord. Unfortunately, the power of hearing is misused in hearing the vibration of mundane affairs. The great sages were interested in hearing about the Lord through Vedic knowledge and nothing more. That is the beginning of the oral reception of knowledge. This is the point. So how this become manifest? Although the sutra were there, the hearing process is there, and this hearing process comes into being by the desire of the Lord. But actually, this hearing process comes into action when those who are these great sages, who are interested to hear through Vedic knowledge. And that is the beginning of oral reception of knowledge. So Vedas are called Shruti.
So
And
yes.
Shruti means to come down from the process of hearing. So here, this process actually gets activated when the saintly person is inclined. So that means one who has awakened for self-realization. He wants to know about the self and the Supreme Lord. And such persons are called here as Rishi, sages. Okay. So
Yes,
far,
Guruji.
I'm going as per the purport. I'm not adding anything from my side. And I don't want to do that.
Then in Sloka 25, it says
Yeah.
that controlling deity Vishnu was generated. I mean,
One moment.
which Vishnu is this?
That is, yes, that is for Vishnu, that is for Pado, for the legs. Pado, what is it?
Yes,
Gatim Sita Pado. Gatim means to movement,
movement.
and Pado is the legs.
Which Vishnu is this?
This is Upendra. Upendra. The one whose legs could cover the entire creation in 3 steps. See, thereupon, because of his desiring to control movement, his legs become manifested. And from the legs, the controlling deity named Vishnu was generated. Okay. So we are going just what it is mentioned. By his personal supervision of this act, all varieties of human beings are busily engaged in dutiful occupational sacrifice. The Prabhupada talks about how people are running from pillar to post, from one place to another, from one city to another. Because they have been captivated by the external energy of Supreme Lord, they have completely forgotten the Supreme Lord Vishnu, and they have taken it for granted that this life is presently manifested under the conditions of material nature, and all is all for enjoying the highest amount of sense gratification. But such a wrong conception of life cannot give anyone the desired peace of mind, and thus, in spite of all advancement in knowledge by use of resources of nature, no one is happy. Okay. Swe swe karmani. Again, Prabhupada is saying this. One should make it a point that by his work and the result of his labor, he serves the Supreme Lord as prescribed in the authorities, expert in transcendental loving service of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So that is the Varnashram, that by his various respective occupational work, he worships the Supreme Lord Vishnu. For performing such occupational duties of life, the leg is the most important instrument of the body because without the help of the legs, one cannot move. So you are asking which Vishnu? Huh?
Yes, sir.
This is your question. I am having Subodhini with me, and Subodhini says Upendra. So Upendra is Vaman. Vaman Dev. Vaman Dev.
But this stage of creation,
Huh?
where only, I mean, 3 Vishnus were there and did not expand further.
Yeah. No, see, 3 Vishnus from the Shirodakshai Vishnu. All the incarnations emanate. So this, see, this what Shukdev Goswami is explaining, that how material creation takes place. Huh? How the various limbs of the bodily they manifest. What comes first and what comes next. So the entire chronology or sequence is being detailed here.
Yes,
And how it's all emanating? How Krishna, why Krishna is Sarv Karan Karanam? Because when this Virat Purusha, he decided, then this became manifest. Not automatically. This is the most important aspect. Okay. This is what is being discussed between Shukdev Goswami and Parishit Maharaj. Parishit Maharaj is asking this question about creation, how the creation takes place. And Parishit Maharaj is step by step explaining that what is the progression. Okay, it is getting late.
yes.
Take a rest.
Thank you.
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्णा.